What's good, family? I was probably loud as shit. Okay, what's good, y'all? So today we are going to be talking about what is an arc mechanic. Now, I recently have been speaking to you guys about me being an arc mechanic, and I'm now going to really get into what that is, okay? So an arc mechanic is a person, okay? An arc mechanic can be a spirit, but right now I'm describing to you about this, okay? So an arc mechanic can be a person, someone who assists people in fine-tuning their current arc. I want you to think about it like a ship, okay? An arc is like a ship. And when we think about Noah's ark, Noah built an ark. He built a big ass ship, okay? You have an ark, and you or Noah, you get on the ship, okay? And that ship, it allows you to direct your course in life in order to pursue your purpose, okay? And whatever that purpose is. Every purpose needs an arc, because a purpose is only an energy. It is only a execution. It is only a result. Purposed work happens in an arc. Okay, so let me give you an example. Oprah's purpose is that she wanted to help influence people. Okay, she got a whole bunch of stuff going on right now, but I just want you to not think about that. I want you to think about this. But then she had her show. When she got on her show, she went from being all these other things, a weather lady, all of that stuff. She became a talk show TV host, right? TV talk show host. And what happened? She changed arcs. She sat into the arc of being a TV host and understanding how being on primetime television during a time where there was no social media, there was nothing, most of people's primary source of entertainment was turning the TV on or turning the radio on, okay? And she had a lot of eyeballs in America, and she was able to influence people through that arc, that process, and it made her very rich. Okay, it made her very wealthy. And from all of that, in that arc, she created her amassed wealth. She created brands. She created so much other stuff. She had the Oprah magazine. She had all this other stuff. And then that arc stopped serving her because she was getting old, y'all. I ain't gonna lie, Oprah old as shit. So, sorry, Oprah. Sorry, I'm not saying that you're old, but I'm just saying you're old. You don't want to. Okay, let me, because y'all, I really respect Oprah, but it's like, I understand that like once you get of a certain age, it's like, I don't want to be dealing with none of that bullshit no more. Like, I don't want to have a boss. I don't want to be talking to studio exec number 1, number 2, number 3, telling me that I got to do A, B, and C, and D for ratings. Okay. So then she was like, I'm gonna have my own network. Well, going from being a host on a show to being a network owner is an arc shift. So then she had to learn, okay, well, how do I do that? And when she first started, that shit was failing, y'all. That shit was failing, okay? But then she had help, okay? Now I'm gonna take you to somebody else because I need you to understand where we at, okay? Let's talk about Taylor Swift, okay? Yeah, I got some Swifties over here. What's up? Okay, now listen. When Taylor Swift first came out with that first album, I believe it was called White Horse. She definitely had a song called White Horse because that was my favorite song, okay? And when she first came out, she was the princess. She was very much like a country pop princess, okay? And everybody loved her because she was this idealization of how children at the time were taught to be, how a girl was taught to present, was like very princessy, very like, oh, I'm happy-go-lucky, I'm partying, I'm having a great time, I'm looking for, a guy who could sweep me on my feet, blah, 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 like a lot of female stereotypes embodied into a person that made people feel comfortable, right? And then she had an arc shift inside of the same idea. She had an arc renovation is what I call those, because she didn't stop doing music. She stopped being the princess. She stopped being the cute one. She stopped being the little girl, the child, the cute teenager who was young and dumb. And she became I don't give two fucks about what the fuck you talking about. I don't like that shit. And you will suck a dick, and I don't need a dude if you're gonna be treating me any kind of way, because I deserve to be treated like a princess. And you not with it, then I'ma do it myself. Okay? Like, I will move on to the next real quick and in a hurry, because I'm not dealing with your BS. Okay? How do you go from one point to another? One, you had to deal with a lot of BS, right? Being in that energy where you're being very naive, right? Now you've learned naivete is not the place to be or where to go. And so then you start to express yourself differently. She's grown now. She makes growner music, okay? Because it's a different type of energy. She made that shift, okay? Let's talk about Raven, okay? Raven started as a child actress, okay? She was a child actress. She was on the Cosby Show, right? She went from being a child actress to then joining the Cheetah Girls, to then having her own show on Disney, right? And then going from Disney to then having her own music, and then going from that to doing her own thing, and nobody knew what she was doing for them years. And then she popped out and she was like, surprise bitches, I'm gay. And everybody was like, whoa, well, that's kind of, the way, the way you've been presenting this whole time, I believe it. You know what I mean? Like, it just was like, okay, great. Do you, boo? And like, and now she's like living her best life. She has all of the things that she has going on. The thing is as she shifted from one place to another, ideas to another, moving around, popping around, she was shifting arcs to figure out, where can I establish my purpose, right? And now she's in a space right now where she's able to do that. There's a lot of people out here who are doing the same. When you think about a lot of these motivational speakers, what are they speaking about? They're speaking about the way they hopped from one ship to another. Let's give an example. So E.T., the hip hop preacher, that guy is amazing. He will make you get off your ass and do some shit. But it's very hard love type tactics, right? When you're listening to him and you hear some of his stories, right? There was one story that he had where he was teaching at a school, right? But then he was doing the motivational stuff on the side. And that was essentially like, so blah blah blah. He ended up having to stop doing that in order to pursue this, right? And he's talking about the difficulty of making that shift, of dedicating himself to building an arc, and then jumping on ship and leaving his old one behind. He talked about how he had to make the shift into committing to his wife when his mother wasn't able to do the things that he needed to be able to love her. So then he had to forgive her for lying, for, hurting him in whatever way, right? And that old ship that he was on contained wounds of not having people who are trustworthy, right? Of insecurity, right? Of trust wounds. We got trust issues, okay? We got abandonment wounds, okay? And as he shifted into this new arc, some of those things were brought onto the ship. And you know what? As he realized how it was affecting his new life, he had to throw the things away. They have this saying that when you are a boy, you do things of a boy, but when you become a man, you throw the things of a boy away and you do the things of a man. It doesn't mean that you have to grow up and you have to stop being a child. It means that you have to stop acting out of a child's identity, out of a child's idea. And when you notify that something in your life is being participated in that way, you have to get rid of it, right? For your life to progress. So now we're here, we're talking, we're thinking, right? Now, let me dive in just a little. Okay, when we're talking about on arc mechanic. An arc mechanic is an assisting person who comes in and they assist the maintenance. That's going to be your healers, the maintenance of your arc. You're going to have healers, life coaches, and therapists. Okay. All right. These are the three. Your healers are there to help you spiritually get that arc together because it's a non-physical thing. So they're going to help you maintain it. Okay. All of those spiritual things that you do help you maintain your arc, help you stay in it. And when you start to feel stuck, claustrophobic, not wanting to do the things you want to do anymore, you are participating in an arc transfer. That means that you're building a new one and you're about to get in that bitch because the old one is not doing what it need to do now. Okay. So there are people like life coaches. There are people who make courses on certain topics to help you transfer and build the next arc so you can get over there and start doing your purpose in that season and that idea and that thing, right? There's a woman that I found when I was stepping into what I'm talking to you guys about right now. And as I was in her program, I'll link it below for you guys if anybody wants to get into that. It didn't really resonate with me, but I do know that she's doing a great service to a lot of people, right? And I realized that she is also an arc mechanic, right? She helps people go from not embodying their spiritual identity, right? Not embodying their truth, not embodying the things that make them special, to then embodying that. And for those people who are in that energy of imposter syndrome, embodying it and starting the business that will pursue their purpose. Okay. Now, for me, I just didn't have confidence, right? So like the biggest thing that I learned with her was that I needed confidence, that I had all the information that I needed. When I got into her program, I realized I knew all of the stuff that she was teaching. I didn't need all of this stuff. Some of the stuff I didn't know, but I knew that it wasn't necessary for the arc that I was moving into, right? And I was able to get the information I needed, get the introductions I needed, and move on because I understood that I'm not really her target market, but I do understand how helpful that is to somebody. When I went into my Melchizedek method training for my healing modality, I understood that, okay, I'm going in here to cultivate the healing that I already do because I knew I was already a healer. I would heal people just by talking to them. So when I went into that course with my teacher, I was like, okay, teach me everything you know about this. Okay, you don't know everything. Great. Let me see what you don't know so I can go out and learn it for myself. And when I did that, I got a lot more into different levels of alchemy. And I was already an alchemist before going, but then that even made me pursue it even more. And I got into Enochian magic. When I was processing that transfer, right? And as I became into the identity of being a healer, I also had to leave behind the identity of being a filmmaker. It was an arc transfer from me moving from being a spiritualist teacher, a medium, a oracle, right? From being a person who creates entertainment and heals through that arc. That arc could not serve my purpose because it required too many people to say yes or no to a given thing. And then I would lose the momentum that it would give me to do a thing. So I was like, oh, this isn't going to work. Now, I could have went and done that stuff all by myself, but it's a lot of work. And y'all, that ADHD brain, I need to, it needs to be quicker. So I can execute, right? I could put this camera up, I could set it up, I get the audio right. I'm good. And I just needed to figure out how to do that. And then I needed to practice it. And then I needed to create this whole arc so that I could move into it effectively. Everything you do is either serving the ark so that the purpose can move through it, or it is dismantling the ark, renovating it, or dismantling it altogether and building something else so that you can move into that and move with that. If you're in a stagnant point in your life, it's because you need to be building your ark, because whatever you're at, whatever you're doing is not working. Now, what does an ark person do effectively? What I do is I come in and I show you all the things that aren't working. I show you how to fix them. I give you the resources to then shift your mental, emotional, and physical movements, ideas, things that you're feeding, and understanding how to properly manifest, or what I call a living prayer. You become a living prayer. When you understand how to become a living prayer, you understand how to manipulate the energy in your life. And when you understand that, you're able to then close cycles, open cycles that you want to open, so that then you can manipulate your forward movement. Manipulation is all magic is. There are some who manipulate it for the good and for the expression and for the elevation of others and themselves. And there are others who only manipulate for themselves, and therefore everyone else is just a casualty to their own manipulation to create themselves as the highest self that they already are, but somehow still pursuing to be the God self that they already are. They already started that way. Just like you're already that. So you don't have to go out and try to create that shit. You are already that, right? But, if that is what they're doing, if that is what you're doing, understand that it's important not to leave, one, a trail of karma behind you. Two, allow yourself to embody the movement toward the arc shifts. For some of you, you ignore your arc shifts, and that's why your life becomes shit for a bit. You ever lost your job, couldn't find one, couldn't reallocate, was struggling for a long time. There's people who have lost their homes, their houses, unable to create a scenario where they were really in their physical movement through life, a new prayer to create a better life because the old one stopped working. That's why we use spell work, okay? There are people who are out here helping you with spells, like I do spell work, to help shift into a new paradigm. All the things that I teach you guys on this channel is to help you shift into a new paradigm. When I'm teaching and when I'm channeling energies, entities, I'm doing light language, it is to help you eliminate certain frequencies that are keeping you stuck, stagnant, busted, and disgusted, so that you can get up and rise. So you should get up and embody your power so that you can elevate. And that's the truth of the matter, right? And so if you're able to do that, then you're able to succeed, then you're able to thrive, then you're able to be. Okay? So I need you to understand where you're at, how you are, and how to elevate within that energy and move away from that energy. And so as you watch more and more of my videos, more and more will break off of you. More and more will seem to free you. Because the truth is that as humans, we create as we teach. And there are a lot of people out here that are creating blockages within the people that they are teaching. You ever listen to someone on YouTube and they say, you have to do it like this. And if you don't do it like this, then you're not doing it right. If you're not initiated, then you can't access A, B, and C. That's a blockage. They're teaching you in blockages. They're mentally creating a maze in your mind as you're learning from them, so that you cannot access something unless you go to ABCD person, unless you go to ABCD process. And that's why. Does that make sense? That's why that happens. Because they need you. It's a system, and you can't skip around in the system. So they have to create a maze for you to follow the same steps they did. But in that doesn't work for everybody. That's a cookie cutter situation. Do you understand what I'm saying? And no matter, and I'm not just saying initiating people, I'm just saying it's a good example, because y'all know when you go over and you're listening to someone who practices Ifa or Vodou, they are very quick to tell you that if you are not initiated, there are certain things that you can't do, certain things that you can't access. There is nothing, literally nothing, that is unavailable to you. But that is the system itself. It's a protective mechanism for the system. Ifa would not exist if those protective mechanisms, ideas, structures were not in place. It's just the truth of the formality of the living entity that is a belief system, right? When you have a wide, strong belief system, it is a religion. When you are in a religion, even though it's a spiritual religion, right? We're not talking about Christianity, Judaism, any of that stuff. You are indoctrinated into its mechanisms of keeping it alive. When you are talking about Christianity, what are the mechanisms of keeping Christianity alive? Is that you stay humble, that you don't ask or want more than what you have. You always want to be humble. You always want to give your money away. You always want to be lower than thou, because humble people, being modest is valued there. Understanding what the protective mechanism is in a belief system allows you to be free of it. And a lot of the times when you're speaking to an arc mechanic, they are going to free you from these things in society. There are certain structures that are in society. As a black woman, as a black woman, as a black person, and as a spiritual person, as a magician, as a sorceress, as a black, all of those things, all of those identities, there are stigmas attached to them. And those stigmas are also keeping people out. And then there are things that are keeping people in. So let's say, for example, there are certain things in this ideal, like a lot of people, when it comes to hoodoo, root work, conjure, they don't like eclectic people. And you will hear from plenty of popular people that they don't like when people are eclectic. Why? Because then they are not a part of the system. They do not adhere to the system. And because they don't adhere to the system, things are done out of order, or things are done not in the right order. But there is no such thing. That doesn't exist. That isn't real. Does that make sense? None of that is real. This is stuff that humans have made up in order to understand a given thing and have it work every time. But it's not real. Someone could come along and use the same stuff, do it totally different, get the same result. Why? Because it's not real. They just need to believe that they can. And what people do is they are inherently reverberating the blockages. They're inherently reverberating the resistance to keep the system alive. Sometimes you want to do that. For a lot of Black people, Black spirituality, ATRs, ADTRs is very important that you continue to create that structure so that it can survive, so that the traditions can live on. But also, when we're talking about people coming into it brand new, they're not getting information that's just straight. They're getting information that's latent with blockages. And that can have terrible ripple effects. Trust me, I have lived them. They fucking suck. Okay? And it can break people down. It can break people down so badly that they just completely leave altogether when they had the opportunity to access their ancestors, to access their power. The limitation was so great that they turned around and they turned back. And for some people that say, oh, they don't have the tenacity to make it in this area. No, you sucked the joy out of it. You sucked the life out of it. And if any of you have ever been to a teacher that sucks the life out of you in the process of teaching, you need to leave immediately. 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 If it's a consistent thing, now sometimes you need the life sucked out of you so you can understand how not to do a motherfucking thing. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes spirit will snap at your ass real hard and real quick so you can understand and get your shit together. But this ain't one of them moments, okay? This ain't one of them moments. What I'm trying to get you to understand is you need to have discernment, because people are out here creating all of that resistance is creating arc damage. Does that make sense? And there are people out here who don't care that they're creating arc damage as long as you go through the same process. And some people go into a space where their arc is working perfectly fine. It's doing the things that they need to do. And all they needed was a boost. They needed someone to blow in their sails. They needed someone to help them fix the engine, or to upgrade their motor, or to add paddles onto the boat so that even when the wind stopped blowing, they could keep going. Does that make sense? But instead, people are out here, when you're not looking, ripping holes in the bottom of your sail, poking holes in this shit, taking wood off the bottom of the boat when you're not looking, creating structural damage. And then people are stuck. They don't know how to get out of it. You ever seen someone come out of an abusive situation? That person is deliberately stranding this person, completely and utterly pulling apart, ripping apart their arc. And the person is not educated enough to understand how to maintain their arc in the first place. So it's probably already halfway dilapidated. And somebody come in and start blowing that shit up. You're going to sink into the sunken place. Okay? And it takes people like arc mechanics, and arc mechanics are everywhere. And they come and they help people build it again. They help people understand that you don't have to live in the depths of the ocean, drowning in your own misery. Get the fuck up. I'm going to put you on this makeshift raft for a second. It's going to be rough. Hold the fuck on while we build you a boat. A lot of people need it and don't know that they need it. Okay? If you've ever heard anybody's story where they was down and out and they came about that shit, you will hear they met somebody. They heard somebody speak. Someone said something to them and it was a life raft. That life raft, they got on that shit and they begin to understand, they begin to learn how to build an arc again. A lot of people have grown up in families that don't understand how to build arcs. So when you get out of your mom and your daddy house, you don't have one. You're on a life raft. And you have to figure out how to build a complex ship. Some of you have come out of your family with an arc that is broke, busted, and dilapidated. But it's an arc. And you can take that same wood, you can take those same cells and build a new one and get you to where you need to be, get you to a coast where you could get some new shit. Okay, when you're watching videos like this, you're getting information to help you build your arc so that you can take yourself from one place to another. So you can elevate your life from here to there. Okay? Now, sometimes you need energy healing. Sometimes you need somebody to fucking talk to your ass. But this is a holistic process. This isn't just, oh, I need something done spiritually. No, you need it all. You need to have something solid spiritually that you could fall back on when ain't shit in the physical ever working. You need some shit solid in the physical. A certain way of being, a certain way of eating that is going to align with you, that is going to create structure so that if anything happens, you fall down, you're able to get right back the fuck up and ascend back to where you was at. Does that make sense? I want you to be able. And if you can't be able to do what you need to do, then you stuck like Chuck, baby. And it's only gonna get worse when you stuck like Chuck, because then you become blocked in a mindset where you are stuck. You believe you are stuck. You keep creating stuck, and you'll never get out of that loop. You'll never get out of that loop until you realize it's not real. It's not real. What you're doing to yourself is not real. Stop doing it. all that shit that you're believing is not real. Stop doing it. For some of y'all are stuck living paycheck to paycheck, and it's like, well, there's nothing better out there. There is. That statement isn't real. It's just right now you don't have access to it. So let's talk about that. How do you get access? Because that's what matters. Not you continuing the affirmation that I'll never get to where I'm at. That's not real. That's not real. That statement's not real. That's not the truth. That's not proven. But because you keep trying to prove it, your life keeps sucking like shit. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense to you. So when we are working as arc mechanics, especially for those of you who are light workers, shadow workers, right? You are an arc mechanic. You are out here helping people fix their shit and keep it maintained so that they don't end up broke, busted, dilapidated, and sinking into the ocean of life. Because bitches, we out here in the wilderness. I don't know why nobody can see it, but bitches, we out here in the wilderness. All types of shit is happening out here. It's crazy. People creating wars over dumb shit, hating people over dumb shit, genocide over dumb shit. Does that make sense to you? I love you. Okay? You are perfect. You just need to understand this. Every person that lives is perfectly imperfect. You're never going to be absolutely perfect because you already are. You came to this planet to be imperfect because you were already perfect. And you know what's hard when you're perfect? To improve. So you become unperfect to improve what you wish to perfect. And that in itself is perfect. Be you. Be loud. Be quiet if that's you. Speak up. Say no. Do your thing. Don't give a fuck about what they're talking about. Get up and be the you that you deserve to be. So you can stop trying to hustle. So you can stop struggling. And you can legitimately thrive in whatever environment you're in. Because that's what you deserve. And thriving only requires mental and emotional stability so that you can cultivate the peace. Because thriving has to do with peace. And when you understand how to cultivate your peace, and everybody's peace is different, okay? Understand how to cultivate your peace, you can do whatever the fuck you want. Because you're not held by the thought of not having peace, which is survival. BTW. Okay, y'all. Okay. Now, I love you guys. I hope that you continue to thrive, survive, and be wise, okay? And I love you. I love you so much. I'm so happy that you're living your best life. I'm so happy that every single day, even if your life right now is shit, I want you to know that every day you stepping right the fuck up out of that. Whatever was holding you back, that shit is non-existent. It is deleting itself from your consciousness. And as you learn that and you stop perpetuating it, your life is going to get so much fucking better. And it's going to be sweet, motherfucker. It's gonna be sweet. Okay? Now, if there's a light worker in your life that is feeling like shit, I want you to send them this video and tell them that they deserve to hear this shit. Because nobody has said it like this. I know, because I watch all the videos and they need to hear this shit. Because sometimes we can feel insignificant too. No matter how much we help somebody, no matter how much we are out here and we're saying, I can help you. You don't need to people please to help a motherfucker. If they won't help, they're going to stay. And sometimes people just need to hear that their existence is helpful because they're doing so much and requiring so little in return. And I'm tired of that shit, but you need to be able to do you, be you, and thrive like you. You feel me? I got some resources coming up for you guys very soon. I'm so excited to announce it, but today's not the day. So watch out, baby, and come back for the next video where we have just so much more for you. Also, we definitely have some channelings coming up, so I'm looking forward to speaking to you then. And with my long-winded ass, I love you and bye, honey.